Hey dude. Goosebumps is special for a lot of reasons, but for me in particular, when I was young, my school had a program where after you completed 10 books, you were awarded one blue ribbon. And I started collecting these things like candy. Dude, I hit the Scholastic Book Fair, and I just started blasting through every Goosebumps book that I could get my hands on. Mostly because the covers were colorful, and they were textured. You know, they just looked and felt different than the other books. And I just started hoarding these blue ribbons from reading all these Goosebumps books. You could also take those same blue ribbons to Pizza Hut in exchange for free pizza. It was the biggest heist the world had ever known. There's never been a truer win-win for anybody since then. So I wanted to talk about the best, arguably, OG Goosebumps episode ever. It's The Haunted Mask. The episode starts off with our host, Robert Lawrence Stein, or as the homies know him as, R.L. Stein, where he introduces the story about Carly Beth and how the power of love and friendship and family are stronger than anything else. And he even asks the question,
what's so scary about that? You'll see. Viewers beware. You're in for a scare.
Here's a bunch of things that are not scary, but what's scary about them? You'll see. It's just ominous. We open on an evening scene where Carly Beth, who's played by Catherine Long, notices a new shop in town. She asks her friend Sabrina, who's played by Catherine Short, not a joke, where the shop came from. One of them says, well, I don't know, but it's just in time for Halloween. The shop's a little spooky. You can see some things on the inside like masks and stuff, but they eventually turn around because Carly needs to pick out a pumpkin. And in the first 2 minutes, we get to see our first creepy adult. Sabrina asks Carly Beth, which, by the way, why do you have two names? Hate that. She says, why do we need to wait so late to come get a pumpkin? Carly Beth replies with,
why does it have to be so creepy out here?
But the honest answer, and I think you know this too, is that if you go to a pumpkin patch at night, you can just get one for free. Carly Beth is a freeloader. Immediately get a sense of how afraid Carly Beth is of everything. Stopping, asking, do you hear breathing?
Do you hear breathing?
Do you hear footsteps?
I thought I heard footsteps.
But her friend Sabrina takes this as an opportunity to scare her because it's just so dang easy.
Somebody's out there. Somebody. Or something.
We get our first real scare here. Now remember, it's a pumpkin patch, it's late at night, it's of course foggy, and we see two pumpkin-headed people jump up from underneath the grass that they've been hiding under to scare Carly Beth. Holy crap, she's legit freaking out. She looks actually scared here. Like this could have actually been a prank that was pulled on her on set, because she looked, maybe she's a good actor, I don't know. Let's keep going. We get to meet Chuck and Steve, who are really just a couple of sickos.
They're sickos, you know that.
See, told you, who are hiding under the grass just waiting to scare Carly Beth. We get a little bit of Chuck and Steve lore at this point about how one night they were outside of Carly Beth's house pretending to be prowlers. I don't think that you actually pretend to be a prowler. I think that you just are a prowler, but that's just me. We also get to learn about how they put an octopus on her for some reason. Where do they get an octopus? Maybe they got it from like the middle of Kmart. Remember when Kmart had like live seafood in the middle of their store that you could just look at and buy from? Carly Beth asks Sabrina, how come they only pick on her? And Sabrina gently informs her that it's because she's just so scareable.
It's just, you're so scareable, that's all. I am not. Come on, that's not fair. Carly Beth, come on.
She's an easy target. The conversation ends with Carly Beth saying,
maybe someday they'll know how it feels.
And then she runs away, and she leaves her pumpkin behind too. Now we get to see that creepy dude from inside the closed novelty shop store was watching all of this. Didn't step in to help at all. And lame, dude. Hate this guy. Carly Beth makes it home. We see her mom welcome her in with open motherly arms. I didn't know what to say right there, so that's what came out. That's what I'm sticking with. Mom shows Carly Beth the sculpture that she just finished in her pottery class that she got to take home. It's a sculpture of Carly Beth's face, and it looks creepily identical to actual Carly Beth. And you know what? I've read dozens of comments over the years about how Catherine Long, the actor who played Carly Beth, was the perfect choice for this role. But a little bit subconsciously, I've always thought that, yeah, superficially, just from looks on the outside, it's what they did was they just got somebody who was like creepily symmetrical, respectfully, of course, and just got her to play what was, you know what I'm saying? You get it, dude. Yeah, you get it. You just get somebody that looks like a porcelain doll to play somebody who's going to have a sculpture made of them. It just makes sense. I don't know what to tell you. Carly Beth doesn't think that it's creepy at all.
It's kind of creepy, Mom.
Oh, I gotta change that line in the script. Carly asks, why did you make this? And then Mom replies,
I made something that looks like you, silly, because I love you. Why else would I make it?
This lady is so sweet, dude. She's been on screen for 9 seconds, and I love her. Carly Beth puts it down. She's scared of something, right? She says,
It smiled at me.
What is up with you?
Its mouth opened and it smiled at me.
we end this conversation. Carly Beth says, I'm going away now. Mom says,
Oh, by the way, your duck costume is all ready. I put it on your bed.
My duck costume?
Remember? You saw a duck at the mall, and you said you thought it might be fun to be a duck for Halloween. I made one for you.
that's because Mom remembered a conversation that they had earlier in the year where Carly Beth saw a duck costume and said, oh, how fun it would be to be a duck for Halloween. Mom remembered this, got it for her, laid it out on her bed, so it's ready. Love this woman! Mom says, go take a look, it's cute. Carly Beth says,
Cute? Last thing I want to be on Halloween is cute.
now she's in a revenge state of mind right now, and she's only dead set on really scaring Chuck and Steve, and she knows she can't do that with a duck costume. Got any grapes? Carly Beth leaves the room. We get to see a close-up of the sculpture that Mom made. It really does smile. It's creepy, which, good job, but it does smile. I like it. Carly, walking down the hallway to her bedroom, hears this weird, I don't know what the quacking sounds, and dude, the music in this scene is just so suspenseful, and it just adds so much tension. I love it. This scene would be silly without the music. Carly opens her bedroom door, and out pops her little brother, right, in the duck costume that Mom made for her, come to find out. He just starts assaulting his sister. There's yellow feathers flying all over the place, dude. And if you have one of those lights behind your TV that reacts to the colors on the TV, the yellow in this just makes like the back wall go crazy. It's a bit of a trip. It's awesome. Brother's name is Noah, and he's a little shit. We cut to the next day at school. They're eating lunch outside, and we get this shot of this girl in her class that's dressed as a clown. She takes a sandwich, I think it's a sandwich, out of her lunchbox. It's almost as if the director was like, hey, little girl, when you take this sandwich out of the bag, just look at it as if you've never seen a sandwich before, and then try to figure out how to eat it for the first time. And she nailed it. Carly Beth and Sabrina are talking amongst themselves at a different table. Up comes either Chuck and or Steve, doesn't fucking matter, with this pumpkin thing that he shoved right in her face, and of course she screams in terror because that's what she does. It was Chuck. Now immediately after that prank, Chunk and Steve, we're gonna call him Chunk and Steve from now on.
Really, Carly Beth, we're really sorry. Really.
Fine, just leave me alone from now on, okay?
All right, whatever you want.
They decide to apologize to Carly Beth. They said, you know what, we were real jerks last night in the pumpkin patch. I'm sorry, we wanted to apologize. Do you forgive us? Carly Beth says, yeah, finally, just leave me alone from now on, please. But while all this is going on, the other one, Chunk and Steve, they're one person now, slips a real worm into her sandwich on the lunch table so that she'll bite into it in a second. Now, here's your first... Is it your first fun fact of the video so far? I don't know how I'm going to edit it, but here's a fun fact. The crew wanted to use a fake worm for this scene, so when Carly Beth bit into it, fake worm, get out of here, Chunk and Steve. But no, Carly Beth, or I guess the actor who played her, Catherine Long, wanted to use a real worm, just to add to the realism to it, and hats off to her. Allegedly, this scene was 12 different takes, and every single take was her eating a live worm in the sandwich, just because it leveled up the experience that much more. It was great. Spoiler, Chunk and Steve didn't want to apologize. They just wanted to find a way to slip a worm into her sandwich. And the realization that Carly Beth has after she bites into the worm is, of course, attention grabbing because she's gonna scream about it. And the kids at this outdoor lunch area, also, whoever got to eat lunch outside? I mean, I never did. Maybe it's because I grew up in mostly cold areas, but damn, dude. It's almost as if the kids had never seen anything funnier in their entire lives. They are literally pointing their fingers and laughing at Carly Beth because of what just happened. For the second time now in this episode, Carly Beth runs away because she's so scared, embarrassed, ashamed, whatever. But I get it. Carly Beth makes it home. She ends up on her bed where she notices the yellow duck costume is still there. She rips this thing apart like it's the one that scared her at lunchtime. Dude, it's insane to watch. It's like your classic, teenage moment where you just tear all your posters off the wall because you're just a different person now and you're just so emotional. Teenagers. She breaks into her piggy bank, starts counting how much money she has. What's she gonna do with that? Where do you think she's going? Now that she's on this vengeful, spiteful quest to scare Chunk and Steve, where do you think she's gonna go? The scary novelty shop that we saw at the beginning of the episode. Yes! Carly walks into the store, and it's pretty much what you'd expect. There's a bunch of scary masks. It's kind of like a very small spirit Halloween, but most of the lights are out. That creepy shop owner notices her, and he's pissed. He says, "What are you doing here?" Which tells us that this is very obviously a money laundering front of some sorts, and he's just upset that there's a customer in his store. Carly Beth musters up some courage to say to the man,
I'd like to buy a mask for Halloween, please.
We're closed.
Dude says to Carly Beth, "No, we're closed. Leave. You're disrupting my money laundering business. Be gone at once." Phone rings. He says, "Everything I have is up on the walls. You got 5 minutes." As Carly Beth starts looking at the masks on the wall, the dude answers the phone, and if you've got the subtitles on, or if you're really good at hearing, I'm not, we get to hear the conversation that he has with the other dude on the line. Something about "don't call me unless you have news," something about wiring money to Paraguay, and he's getting more and more upset as the phone call goes on. Now, I tried to do a little bit of research, and I don't know what, the news he was looking for was, or what wiring money to Paraguay has to do with anything, but it's painfully obvious that this dude does not sell Halloween accessories for a living. Carly eventually sees that the back door is slightly ajar. She, of course, goes in there and she sees a little row of masks. Now, allegedly, one of those masks is based on the look of R.L. Stine himself, and I guess based on my best estimation, it's probably this one. Respectfully, within that row of masks that we stumble upon in the back room, Carly Beth sees the green one that we all know and love so much. It's slimy, it's got sharp teeth on the top and the bottom rows, and its brow ridge is just absolutely out of this world, dude. But at the same time she goes to reach for it, shop owner comes back to the back room and says, "No!" He slams the door behind him and says, "You're not supposed to be in here." Well, my guy, if she's not supposed to be in there, don't lock her in, huh? The shop owner then tells Carly Beth that these masks are not for sale because they're too damn scary. Carly Beth says, "Great, how about $30? We get a quick little back and forth. Shop owner says, "No, still too scary. How about the gorilla mask at the front of the store? It's made with real gorilla hair."
This really frightening gorilla mask out front. It's made with real gorilla hair. I will give it to you for nothing.
A gorilla mask is not going to cut it for what she wants to do to Chunk and Steve. So she swipes that green mask off that stand, swoops underneath the shop owner's arms as he dives to catch her, and then she throws $30 into the air as she jets out of that store faster than someone who just stole a cursed mask out of the back of a fake Halloween store. It's not really an analogy if that's actually what happened. Carly Beth makes it home with the mask and she tries it on in her bedroom. What do you know? It fits like a glove. Like a glove for your face. It fits like a face glove. Is that a thing? Carly Beth uses this opportunity to scare the ever-living crap out of her brother Noah with the mask, and it works.
Who are you? Why don't you guess? Mom, help! Help! Hey, stupid, it's me, it's Carly Beth.
But she can't take the mask off. It's stuck. Oh no!
Really, I can't get it off me.
But it's fine. After a little bit of tugging and some suspenseful music, she gets it off. All good. Carly Beth now feels the adrenaline rush that you get when you scare somebody out of their pants, dude, and she likes it a little bit too much. It's Halloween night now, and on the way out of Carly Beth's house, she puts the mask on again, stops and checks herself out into a mirror, and we hear this. Well, I don't know what to describe it as, but it's like this shrink wrap sound where it's like the mask, you can hear it literally forming to herself. It's like on her skin now.
Whoa.
She doesn't hear it because she's not watching the show. She's living it. You and I are watching the show, so we get a little bit more context. That's how TV works. Then we get this first-person POV shot of like us looking through the eyes of the mask. It's very Michael Myers Halloween. Remember, Mom doesn't know any of this. Mom still thinks that she's going to wear the duck costume that she made for Carly Beth. Mom's never seen the mask. So on the way out of the house, Mom comes out of the kitchen. She says, "Carly Beth, wait, I want to see your duck costume." Carly Beth does this like Neo backbend scene like in The Matrix, and just as her mom is about to come around the corner to see what her daughter is wearing, the phone rings.
That must be your dad. I hope his trip's going well. Have fun with Sabrina and be careful, okay?
She says, "Oh, it's probably your dad. I hope his trip is going well." Carly Beth was literally saved by the bell. Carly Beth leaves the house with her self-portrait sculpture on the end of a broomstick, and it's time for terror. It's terror time. Carly Beth is now scaring all the kids in the neighborhood with her mask and her head on a stick, and she's just really just snarling at everybody and making like weird guttural noises. Terrifying, right? Then comes across Chunk and Steve, her two targets for this act that she's been gearing up for. She ends up tearing their costumes off, quickly realizes, uh-oh, that's not Chunk and or Steve.
You're not Chuck and Steve?
Now, at this point in the story, I don't quite think that Carly Beth has gone full crazy just yet.
Let's go. She's crazy. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm crazy, all right, I'm crazy!
Oh, I'm gonna have to rewrite that too. Carly Beth goes to Sabrina's house to pick her up, and Sabrina hates this mask, dude.
That mask, it's excellent.
Damn it.
And that head, it looks so real. Where'd you get it?
Oh, it's me. It's who I used to be.
Carly Beth finds Chunk and Steve in the cemetery of all places, dancing together? I don't know. And she really just lets them have it, dude. She rips into these guys.
For every time you scared her! For every time you made people laugh at her!
We were just goofing around.
We find out that one of Chunk and or Steve was only scaring Carly Beth because he liked her.
We only did it because we liked her.
It's no excuse.
Doesn't fly, dude. Not cool. She still makes them apologize for scaring her all those times for all those years.
Apologize!
One of the most disturbing images of the entire Goosebumps series happens right now. The Carly Beth sculpture that's been on the end of this broomstick all night looks at both Chunk and Steve. The mouth opens and it says,
Please help me.
This even scares Carly Beth as she throws the head onto the ground. This gives an opportunity for Chunk and Steve to bolt it out of the cemetery. Carly Beth quickly gets over the fear of having that porcelain head talk, as she's just realized that she's accomplished her goal. She scared the crap out of Chunk and Steve. She's now literally howling at the night sky. You know, like how you do when you achieve a goal? You just start howling. Carly Beth is now what I would call savagely burying the sculpture of her own head into the ground. And she's making these weird, like, you know, obviously she's possessed by the mask, but she's making these weird noises. They're all very, like, saliva-y and just scratchy. Poor girl's voice must have been sore for days. I just spit. Did that get on you? I'm sorry. Carly Beth now leaves the cemetery where she scared the crap out of Chunk and Steve, buried the sculpture of her own head, and she meets up again with Sabrina.
I was worried about you. What happened to your hands?
I found the mud.
Sabrina is rightfully worried about the way Carly Beth is acting. She asks her if she found Chunk and Steve. She says yes. She asked her if she hurt Chunk and Steve, and
No, of course not.
Let's go home, okay?
you know, honestly, Carly Beth says no, and she didn't really, just gave them, you know, the most traumatic, horrifying experience of their lives so far that they will never, ever forget and will likely change who they become as people in the future. But that's all. But no, she didn't hurt them. Beth and Sabrina retire to one of their houses. I forget which one, but it's got a cool little, you know, vintage ghost decoration on the front porch. And they realize that Carly Beth cannot take the mask off. Now, we've been through this once before in the episode already, but remember, after a little bit of suspenseful music and some tugging and pulling, it came off eventually. That's not happening now.
Well, it's gonna sound pretty dumb if we have to call the fire department to come get you. Shut up and help me!
Carly Beth is freaking out. She's pulling and tugging on this thing. It's hurting her. She suggests that we grab scissors or a knife just to cut herself out of it. Sabrina says, nope, too dangerous. And she's right, dude. Don't do that.
That's too dangerous.
If you end up stealing a haunted mask from the back of a fake Halloween shop and it gets stuck to you, don't. Take a knife to it to cut it off, dude. It's only asking for more trouble. I've seen what happens in real time. Goosebumps is a documentary, right? There is no bottom of the mask. That thing goes all the way down. Carly Beth runs back to the fake Halloween store. The shop owner is still there. I guess he lives there? I don't know. And she's freaking out. She says, I can't take this mask off. Please, can you take it off for me? Shop owner says, no, I cannot remove the mask.
I cannot remove the mask.
I got that one right. The shop owner tells Carly Beth that not only can he not take the mask off, but that's not a mask anymore. That's her skin. And she goes, what?
Don't understand. How can they be real?
We then get a little bit more exposition and we get to see the masks in the back of the shop. Apparently, dude made these, and when he did originally, they were all very beautiful. But over time, they turned into monstrosities, and the decay just got worse and worse until they look like what they do now. Carly Beth believes all of this.
I don't believe any of this.
Some backstory on the shop owner, even more now than before. We find out that he also wears a mask, and that's why that one little bumpy prosthetic that he wears on his cheek looks like that, because it's a mask, and that's not really what he looks like. And he says, just like you, Carly Beth, I used to not love myself. He made all these masks so that he could wear to cover up his own insecurities and his own faults, but eventually the masks look like what they do now, and there's just no hiding that anymore. And out that the reason these masks turned to look like such monsters is because they were reacting to the faults and the insecurities that were on the inside of the shop owner, not the outside. This is very much a beauty is on the inside kind of a story. Carly Beth starts screaming at the shop owner. She says, I want my old self back. And then he says, shush. My guy, she's been screaming at you this whole time you've been in the scene, and just now you're like, shush, you're gonna wake the masks all of a sudden? Like, that's a thing? It's a thing. The masks wake up now, and they all one by one start floating off of their stands and start floating towards the camera. This is absolute nightmare fuel. This has kept me up. My back hurts, dude. But you know what? If you remember watching these shows in real time as they aired, your back probably hurts too. May take a quick break to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for a channel that's got, I don't know at this point, 3 or 4 public videos on the channel, and most of those videos have views in the thousands. That just blows my mind, dude. I don't know what else to say other than thank you. Thank you for hanging out with me while I do these retrospective, reactions and commentaries and stuff. It really means a lot. I don't want to drag this out, but seriously, thank you. So now all the masks are floating through the shop. They're chasing Carly Beth out of the shop. We haven't seen anything leave the shop. The shop owners never ran out the door to chase Carly Beth. So for like half a second, you're like, oh, maybe the masks are kind of like the shop owner. They just go to the front door and they stop. But they don't. Carly Beth leaves the front door open. As she bolts, the masks, one by one, they all come out of the shop door. It's freaky. And you know what I realized when I was watching this again just earlier today, right now too, is that the masks, they're all floating at head height, And when they're looking for somebody like Carly Beth, they have the option to float down on the ground and really look low, or even more intelligently, they have the option to float high up like on the tree line and get a great view trying to find this girl that they're looking for, but they don't. They just stay head height. But then I realize it's Goosebumps in 1995, and I have to go, okay, don't overthink it. The heads chase Carly Beth all the way back to the cemetery. She digs up the statue of her own head and she says, this is not Carly Beth. This statue right here. I wish I had like an actual Carly Beth. The hindsight that I have is always crystal clear. If I had any foresight, dude, I would have like ordered some kind of mock. You get it. It's all good. Pretend I'm holding like a sculpture of Carly Beth's head. She says, this is Carly Beth. And she shows all the masks one at a time. And as every one of them sees the sculpture of the girl, they all have this look of like, ugh, ugh. And they turn away and they fly away. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you could help me understand that. After all the ghosts have turned away and floated at head height back to wherever they came from, Carly Beth is now alone in the middle of the cemetery. Still foggy, still nighttime, atmosphere is just right. She's now able to take the mask off of her head. She is so relieved. Carly Beth, mask now in hand, walks back home to end her night. But we get one quick little, freaky deaky situation from the brother. Check this out.
I know. Carly Beth, please take that mask off. Please, Carly Beth, please. Take that mask off. I gotcha.
Little shit. Carly Beth finally gets to see her mom for the first time that night. Mom, of course, as lovingly as ever, says, I hope you had a good night. Did you have fun? All these other motherly things. And Carly Beth says, yes, I actually learned a lot about myself. We then cut back to R.L. Stine, the host of the show. And of course, I don't need to say, but the author of the Goosebumps books. Duh. He says, I hope that wasn't too scary for you. And then he asks his mom and dad what they thought. Pan to mom and dad, and this is what you see.
I think they liked it. I hope you did too. Have a scary day, everyone.
Then ends with R.L. Stine signing off and saying, have a scary day. Which I've always thought was weird, because it's so close to Halloween, this probably aired in the late afternoon. You'd think he'd say, have a scary night, but he chooses to say, have a scary day instead. And I've never figured out why he chose to say day instead of night, but I don't know. Maybe that's an unsolved mystery for now. Have a scary day.